Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today we're tackling a question many of you are asking. Is Pacific Gas and Electric a good time to buy right now? We'll explore this through a stack of sources, including reports from MarketBeat, Bar Chart, and an in-depth stock analysis, alongside discussions on PG&E's future. Our mission today is to unpack what makes Pacific Gas and Electric, or PG&E, such an interesting and, at times, well, complex investment case. We'll look at the bullish signals, the operational changes, and the enduring risks, all to help you form your own informed opinion. Before we dive in, if you're finding these conversations valuable, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. It truly helps us bring more of this content to you. And if there's a specific company you'd like us to look into, let us know in the comments. You can also consider buying us a coffee if you appreciate our work. Okay, let's unpack this PG&E situation. It's a utility stock, typically known for predictability, right? But suddenly, it's flashing some pretty intriguing signals. What's piquing investor interest, especially in the options market?
Yeah, what's fascinating here is the unusual activity in the options market. That often signals a shift in, professional investor sentiment. On July 25th, the trading volume of bullish call options for PG&E stocks soared. We're talking over 380% compared to its daily average.
Wow, 380%. And a call option, just for everyone listening, is basically a bet the price will go up, right?
Exactly. It's a direct bet on a price increase. So that kind of jump is significant. If you look closer at the data, there's significant interest in options expiring way out in September 2025. And the strike prices are interesting, too. $16, $19, even $20 per share.
Okay. And PG&E stock is currently trading, what, around $13, $14?
That's right. So this pattern, it really reveals investors are positioning for a sustained rally. They're betting on a potential upside of, say, 20% to maybe even 50% over the coming months.
That's a big move for a utility stock.
It really is.
So here's where it gets really interesting for me. How does a utility company, often seen as kind of a slow and steady play, become a focus for growth investors, especially tech investors? What's driving this?
Well, the catalyst igniting all this excitement is a powerful new growth engine, and it's tied directly to the artificial intelligence revolution.
AI.
Okay, yeah, PG&E's Northern California service area is right at the heart of this boom. And the recent earnings report revealed something pretty stunning. Demand for its new data center pipeline has swelled to an immense 10 gigawatts.
10 gigawatts, that sounds like a lot. How big is that, really?
It's huge. I mean, 1 gigawatt powers hundreds of thousands of homes. So 10 gigawatts, that's enough for millions of homes, or in this case, these massive server farms for AI. And this isn't just potential, it's a unique growth position that most other utilities just don't have.
Right.
We're talking about these huge server farms consuming vast amounts of electricity. And there are confirmed projects with major tech players, like Microsoft. That makes this growth feel very tangible, very imminent.
Okay, so tangible demand from big names. How does that translate to profit for PG&E and its investors?
Well, for investors, this new demand requires billions in new infrastructure investment. And for a regulated utility, like PG&E, those investments get added to its rate base.
The rate base. Remind us quickly what that is.
Sure. It's basically the value of all the assets, power plants, lines, etc., that the utility uses to provide service. Regulators allow them to earn a guaranteed profit, a rate of return, on that base.
Got it. So bigger demand means more infrastructure.
Means a bigger rate base, which means potentially higher guaranteed profits. It directly supports their goal of delivering at least 9% annual EPS growth through 2028. It's a pretty neat mechanism, actually.
That's clear. So that's good for investors. Is there a benefit for anyone else, like customers?
Actually, yeah. Management explained that this growth story can also be a win for customers and regulators. Every gigawatt of new data center load can actually reduce residential bills by maybe 1–2%.
Reduce bills? How does that work?
Because the grid has high fixed costs, right? Maintaining all those lines and substations. When you spread those fixed costs over more electricity sales, thanks to the data centers the cost per unit, per kilowatt hour, can actually go down for everyone.
Interesting. So more demand doesn't automatically mean higher prices for residents here.
Potentially, yeah. It's a good narrative for them.
Okay, so beyond this really exciting AI story, what about the fundamental health of the business? We know PG&E has had its share of troubles. Is a new era of stability actually emerging?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the signs are, well, surprisingly positive in many ways. Their second quarter 2025 earnings report, it painted a picture of a business successfully stabilizing things, operationally and financially. They confidently reaffirmed their full-year non-GAAP core earnings per share guidance. That's between $1.48 and $1.52.
And non-GAAP core earnings, that's like the underlying performance, stripping out unusual items.
Exactly. Gives you a clearer view, reaffirming that guidance signals management's plan is on track, which, is a big deal for them. And their Q3 earnings actually beat estimates too, with revenues up year over year.
Right.
So there's momentum.
And is this stability just financial, or are they making operational changes too, especially around safety?
Oh, absolutely. It's built on tangible operational stuff that reduces risk. Just in Q2, PG&E put 32 miles of power lines underground. That's key for wildfire mitigation.
Right.
And they strengthened another 103 miles of grid infrastructure in those high-risk fire zones. These are concrete actions, not just talk.
That's crucial. Investors need to see that. What about their overall financial health, like their credit rating?
Yeah, good point. The parent company, PG&E Corp, now holds a positive credit outlook from S&P Global Ratings. That puts it on a clear path toward achieving an investment grade rating.
And that would mean?
Lower borrowing costs.
Which helps profitability. It's a virtuous cycle. They're also managing the regulatory side better, it seems. They submitted their smallest rate increase request in a decade. A signal of maybe better relations or more stability.
Could be both. It suggests things are calming down on that front, at least somewhat.
Okay, that sounds like, well, genuinely significant progress, a real turnaround in some key areas. But every story has another side, right? Especially with a company like PG&E. What are the lingering risks? The fundamental concerns investors absolutely have to keep in mind. It can't be a completely clean slate.
No, absolutely not. And this is critical. Despite the improvements, despite the AI hype, the fundamental analysis shows some persistent challenges. First off, PG&E maintains a really high debt-to-equity ratio. It's 188.2%.
Whoa! 188%. How does that stack up against similar companies?
It's significantly higher than peers like Edison International or Sempra Energy. It just signals heavy leverage, a lot of debt relative to equity.
It means more risk if things go wrong, right?
Exactly. More sensitivity to interest rates, less financial flexibility. And their interest coverage ratio, it's also lower than those peers at 1.53.
Meaning their earnings just barely cover their interest payments? Not much wiggle room there.
It reflects a tighter capacity, yeah. Less cushion if earnings dip or costs rise unexpectedly. And then, of course, there are the legacy issues. They still face wildfire liabilities from the past, ongoing legal settlements.
Oh, the past is still very much present on the balance sheet.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And continued, intense regulatory scrutiny comes with that history. This historical baggage, it can reduce their competitive edge because resources go to managing that instead of just growth.
Right. And just being a utility in California has its own risks too, doesn't it?
Definitely. The whole sector is sensitive to regulatory changes, interest rates, inflation. But California adds layers. The specific policy environment, the very real climate risks like wildfires and drought, and just shifts in the broader economy. These are big factors, somewhat out of their direct control.
Okay, so bringing this all together, we've got this exciting AI growth catalyst, signs of operational stability, but also this heavy debt load and lingering legacy risks. How does all that shake out in the company's valuation, and what are the analysts saying? Is it cheap? Is it expensive?
Well, looking at the valuation metrics, PG&E currently trades at a price-to-earnings ratio, a PE of 13.6. The forward PE looking ahead is about 9.34.
And how does that compare?
Those figures are generally below Sempra's, which is near 16, and roughly in line with Edison International's around 9.9. So not wildly cheap, but maybe slightly favorable on a forward basis. Its price-to-book ratio, PB, is 1.06. Now, that is cheaper than both Edison and Sempra.
Okay.
Price to sales is 1.23. Price to cash flow is 3.80. So what this suggests is the valuation sits near industry averages, maybe slightly undervalued, particularly on that price-to-book basis, and maybe the forward PE. It kind of feels like the market hasn't fully priced in that AI potential yet, perhaps because of the risks.
Makes sense. So what's the consensus view from Wall Street analysts who follow this company closely?
Well, across quite a few analysts, somewhere between 12 and 23 depending on the source, the consensus rating is actually buy. And digging in, about 39% recommend a strong buy and another 39% a regular buy. So that's a pretty strong positive lean from the professionals.
And what kind of price targets are they putting out there? What upside do they see?
The targets generally cluster between, say, $20.55 on the lower end and maybe $29.08 on the higher end.
Wow, compared to the current $14, $15 range.
Exactly. It suggests a perceived upside of anywhere from 40% to maybe 90%. That's a very bullish outlook from the analyst community. They seem to believe the company can navigate the challenges and really capitalize on the growth.
That's quite optimistic. Is there any counterpoint to that analyst view?
Well, one interesting note from MarketBeat was that While analysts like PG&E, it wasn't on a specific list of 5 other stocks that top analysts were supposedly quietly whispering about.
Huh.
So, take that for what it's worth. It's liked, maybe not the absolute top darling for everyone.
Got it. An important nuance. Okay, let's shift from fundamentals and analysts to the market itself. What are the technical indicators saying? What's the stock price actually doing, and what's the sentiment like?
Technically, the picture is one of stabilization after some medium-term weakness. The price has been floating in a tighter range recently, maybe $14.30 to $15.43. It's currently sitting near recent support around that $14 mark. Now, it is trading below its 200-day simple moving average, which is around $16.91. That usually points to medium-term weakness.
So not a strong uptrend signal there.
Not yet. But the trend is sort of cautiously moving from bearish towards neutral. It's finding a base, perhaps. The short-term trend is neutral to maybe mildly bullish. 19 of the last 30 trading days showed a price increase.
Okay.
And the RSI, the 14-day Relative Strength Index, is at 57.5. That's right in the middle, neither overbought nor oversold. It's just a balance right now.
And overall market mood, sentiment towards PG&E specifically.
Well, the broader market's fear and greed index is at 39, signaling fear, so there's general caution out there. For PG&E itself, overall investor sentiment seems bearish but improving. It's getting less negative, though interestingly, social media sentiment still lags a bit.
Still reflecting that caution from the past troubles.
I think so, yeah. Those historical legal headwinds, they cast a long shadow in, casual investor talk online. The market seems to be slowly, cautiously turning the page.
Okay, so let's try to connect all these threads now. We have the AI tailwinds, the operational improvements, but also the high debt, the legacy risks, the mixed technicals, and the pretty bullish analyst outlook. What's the overall investment thesis here? How would you rate PG&E?
If I had to put a number on it, based on everything, maybe a 7 out of 10.
Okay, a 7. Why?
Because it really does combine that modest valuation and stable cash flow story with this new, potentially massive AI demand kicker. And you have that analyst-endorsed upside, 40% to 90%. That's compelling. But, and it's a big but, that's balanced by the very real legacy and regulatory risks. The debt is high. The past controversies aren't completely gone.
Right.
Its financial health is, let's say, moderate, improving, but not stellar. Its sector positioning in Northern California is unique and strong, no doubt, but the risks temper that conviction. And technically, like we said, it's stabilization, not strong momentum yet. Sentiment is recovering, not roaring back. It's just nuanced.
So given that 7 out of 10 rating and all the nuances, who is this investment best suited for? What kind of investor? What kind of time frame?
Yeah, this feels much better suited for a long-term investment horizon.
Why not short term?
Well, for short-term trading, while there is upside potential,
Yeah.
one source mentioned maybe a 43% return by year-end, which sounds great. It carries significant event risk.
Yeah.
Think about earnings surprises, sudden regulatory decisions, maybe unexpected litigation news. Any of those could swing the stock wildly in the short term.
Okay, makes sense. So patience is key.
I think, though, longer-term investors stand to benefit more from the broader sector trends, the gradual healing of PG&E's risk profile as they keep investing in safety and modernization, and that unique California energy demand, especially fueled by AI. If you have patience and can tolerate the headline risk along the way, the long-term story built on decarbonization, grid upgrades, public safety, and that AI boom looks potentially quite strong.
What a really interesting look into PG&E. It's definitely not just a simple utility story anymore, is it?
Not at all.
It's clear the company is in this major transformation. It's moving beyond just recovery and trying to position itself as this key partner for the AI industry. But those shadows of the past, the debt, the regulatory complexity, they're still very much there.
Exactly. Risk and opportunity tightly bound together.
It really offers that compelling narrative. So here's maybe a final provocative thought for you, our listeners, to mull over. How will PG&E navigate these twin demands? On one hand, ensuring grid safety, which is absolutely critical after everything that's happened, and on the other, supplying the truly exponential power needs of the AI industry. What does that incredibly delicate balancing act mean for the future of utility investments, especially in these rapidly changing tech hubs? Something to think about. Thank you for joining us for this exploration of PG&E. We hope this conversation has given you a clearer, maybe more nuanced understanding of its investment landscape. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Tell us what you think or what companies you'd like us to cover next time. We really appreciate your support.